Today's Friday edition of the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast is brought to you by No Halftime. No Halftime is an iTunes app that allows you to compete in player versus player daily fantasy sports contest. Use the promo code BBALL for a free $25. That's No Halftime, where the fantasy sports season never takes a break. And with that, we are off. The show, the weekly show that everyone looks forward to. That is the Friday edition show. I'm joined, as always, by my boy, Mark Roberts. Mark, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been an okay week, right? This week kind of went by fast, didn't it?
I think it's been a great week.
Oh, wow. Why has it been great? My week has not been great. Yours has been great?
And this is the third podcast we've done this week. What else do you need? Yeah.
So are you one of the people, like, if I asked you every Thursday this time, it's Thursday night for us. So, like, every Thursday night, I would ask you, how are you doing? Would you say great every week?
Probably. I mean,
and plus, you just seem always like you're an always happy person, right? Like I'm like 50% miserable, I'd say.
Yeah, I try to be. I mean, listen, what's not to be happy about? We're talking about fantasy basketball right now. It's Friday, so work week is basically over. You're just coasting to the end, and then we're at the weekend.
So you're can I say what you do in the air?
Yeah.
So you're an actuary,
right?
Do you ever work weekends in your job?
No.
I hate you so much. No wonder you're so giddy like a schoolgirl.
Nights and weekends are off limits.
Yeah. No wonder you're so giddy. Yeah, sadly, I don't get to live in that fantasy. Hey, look at that pun. Or is that a pun?
It sounded like a transition.
Yeah, transition. So the Friday show. You know what the Friday show? You know what we lead off with on a Friday show, Mark, don't you? What is it?
Why don't you tell us about it? What are we talking about?
So my wheel of nonsense. Mark gives me one non-basketball topic that I can talk about all week.
Don't act like I'm in charge here.
This is the time where we get to reveal that one non-basketball story. Just so you guys know, going forward, and maybe I can plug this a little bit better on the show. I will send out a tweet out a poll. Maybe we'll put the poll up on the website too, Mark, on the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast website, so you guys can vote on which story you want to hear. I'm
pretty sure neither of us are smart enough to do that.
Well, we'll get someone, right? I mean, I didn't mean like me or you, like, no. Actually doing it, because that would take years. But so I tweeted out the three options for the nonsense story, and the three options today were: 1, I turned into a cat. That is story 1. Story 2 was the date where I went on a New York City date where a girl demanded basically I'd make $200,000 or she wouldn't date me. And the third story is where I had to scold my 75-year-old secretary. The voting, my friend, was fierce. Lots of votes. Let me tell you. And I think you guys just want to hear dating stories, which I guess makes sense. Maybe I shouldn't put dating stories. Mark, I either need to have a separate dating segment each week, or not include the dating as part of the polls, because that was the go away winner. But I'm gonna switch it up on you. I'm gonna veto that. I think because it segues into our first basketball topic today. I'm gonna go with Mark. The story on the Wheel of Nonsense I'm going to reveal today is the day I turned into a cat.
So why post the Twitter poll if you're just gonna ignore the results and pick your favorite?
If I had a legitimate answer for that.
All right. Let's hear about the cat story.
Going forward, yes, I will. I promise. I swear. I promise to abide by whatever the results are in the poll. I will from this day forward, Mark, I will honor the poll results, even if I don't. I want to tell a different story. But for today's show, I'm going contrarian. I'm going to tell you the day I turned into a cat. So this is the story, Mark. So one day, I wake up and all of a sudden I have appendicitis. Now at the time, I had no idea I have appendicitis. I really didn't. I thought if you have appendicitis, and you have really bad stomach pains, in your abdomen. Wasn't the case for me. I just woke up really sick, throwing up violently everywhere. Not a good picture for the listeners, but just incredibly sick, throwing up, and had zero energy. I couldn't move. I don't think I've ever been this sick, knock on wood, in my life. The appendicitis, it is horrendous. Like, so I couldn't move. And this was like for hours. I was just laying on my couch. Now, luckily, there was at some part early in the morning before I got really sick. I took a bunch of like waters and ginger ale and Sprite and stuff, and I had it on the couch with me. But I was finally out, and I was really thirsty. I was super dehydrated. Never been more dehydrated in my entire life. It was not possible to be more dehydrated than I was at that particular moment. It was like I was in the Sahara Desert. I needed a drink of water, Mark. I would have sold my soul to the devil himself to get some water in me. But I had no water on me. And the kitchen in my small one bedroom apartment in New York City was about 20 feet away from my couch. Now, normally you're like 20 feet. That's no problem, right? It's like 3 steps. But when you have appendicitis, Mark, that 20 feet seems like a football field, 100 yards. So I spent like 10 minutes trying to devise a plan for me to like get to my kitchen, get to my refrigerator so I could open up and get some water. So my plan involved me like trying to like plunge and dive off of my couch onto my floor, and then using like a slippery like workout mat to like slide the rest of the way to the refrigerator. And I thought using that incredible plan, I thought that would be enable me to get to open the fridge and get a bottle of water. Now what happened is I dove off the couch, Mark, and it was not a pleasant dive. So I dove off this couch, and I'm naked, by the way, because I was too tired to even get on clothes that day. So now I'm like spread eagle, naked on my floor. I'm stuck and I can't move because I had zero energy. The diving plan didn't work. I'm still about a good 14 feet away from the fridge. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I glance over to the right of me, and I see a cat bowl of water. Now, this is about a year and a half ago. So this is before I had my dog, Ed Harris. I did have one cat at the time, though. So I had a cat bowl. There was a cat bowl of water. Now, again, about 12, maybe about 8 feet away. I think it was the cat bowl. So I decided I got to go for the cat bowl. That's closer to the fridge. I don't care. I need water. I just need to get water, whatever it takes, Mark. So I start crawling, and after about 15 minutes of me crawling on the floor, spread eagle, I get to the bowl of water. Normally, you'd pick it up and you would drink it, right? As disgusting as it sounds, but I didn't even have the energy.
I don't think there's like a normally in that scenario, but go on.
I guess that's true, right? There's no normal playbook here, but so I had no energy, not even enough to pick up, the cat bowl of water. So I'm thinking, I just got to go for it. I got to become a cat. I have to use my mouth and just lick it like a cat does. So this is what I'm doing. I start licking it like a cat, and I feel refreshed. It worked. There were some cat hairs in the water, but like when you're that sick, you really can't worry about that stuff. So, I did it, and I'm not gonna lie, my cat was like to the right of me. I didn't want to make eye contact with her because I thought if I did, like then she may have I don't know what she was thinking when she witnessed this horrendous, excursion. But I made it to the bowl, Mark. I made it to the water, and I drank, and I turned into a cat, and that's my cat story. There it is. And well, I guess just to sum it up or end the story. Then I did have actually because I didn't get any better for hours. I did have to call the emergency room, and an ambulance came and picked me up, and that's when they told me I had appendicitis. They said my experience was not uncommon, except I didn't tell them about the cat. Drinking like a cat.
You probably should have told nobody about the cat story, but here you are broadcasting it now.
You should know me by now, man. I really don't have any shame in kind of anything I do. Given the fact you guys now all the listeners already know I like Pitch Perfect. I became a cat. You guys know my Urban Outfitter dating stories, and so I share all with the listeners, man. But it was a crazy story, and then so I realized I had appendicitis, and they actually just gave me antibiotics, and I was fine. I was fine an hour later. It was pretty crazy. They kept me overnight, but I didn't have to get my appendix out. They just gave me the antibiotics, and that was it. And the next morning I left. I was good as new. And I want you guys to know, if if you're ever truly thirsty, let's say you're a single guy, you had a bad night at DFS, you can't afford water, go to that cat bowl, man. It's not as bad as it looks. It's pretty delicious.
I have no words for that story.
I know, a scale of 1 to 10, how appalled are you at the story?
It's like an 8.
I mean, you can't be that. I mean, I don't think it's that appalling. I was that thirsty. I mean, like
logically, it makes sense, but it is pretty appalling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you think about it, but putting myself back in that spot, it was just so bizarre. It was just, I really would have sold my soul to the devil for any type of water. It was pretty shocking. So, but Mark, speaking of appendicitis, the only reason why I thought about this story was because our boy, or your boy, or one of our boys, fantasy friendly or fantasy killer, Nikolai Mirotic, is out until the All-Star break because of appendicitis. So this also, now anytime I hear anyone has appendicitis, I just feel so bad for them, because whatever he was experiencing when he came down with this yesterday must have been just excruciating. I mean, it is so painful. Not a fun experience. So anyway, Mirotic, though, is out until the All-Star break. And I know Twitter was I thought Twitter was going to explode yesterday, because everyone was so excited to jump and get on the waiver wire Bobby Portis. People were dropping Marc Gasol for Bobby Portis. I saw one person do. I saw some crazy things going on. I just want to get your feelings on Bobby Portis, because I think, yes, he will be a fine player to own until the All-Star break, until Mirotic comes back. But I still don't see him getting more than 26 to 28 minutes a game, and that's like a max. And so, I think he's going to be a pretty good player, but nothing great. And I don't think he's going to be a long-term savior here. What do you think, man? Yeah,
I mean, think about how many games we have until the All-Star break. Really, it's 2 weeks. And that's until the trade deadline, which I think is when the All-Star break is over.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We're talking about a couple of weeks fill in here. Unless you think he's going to wrestle away the job from Gasol or Taj Gibson or Mirotic, I don't see what all the excitement's about. I can understand picking him up, like you said, but he didn't start on Thursday night versus the Lakers. The Bulls played Taj Gibson and Gasol as the starters. I'm trying to see, we're 1 quarter in. He played. Yeah, he came off the bench. He was the first big man off the bench. So, you assume, 24 minutes a game? 26 minutes a game, maybe, you were saying?
I mean, they started each one more in front of Portis. I did think Portis was going to start.
Well, that's not really fair, because Moore is a guard.
But he's still starting.
Yeah, but you can't just say, start Gasol, Portis, and Gibson.
See, but I mean, each one more is 5'11", so you're starting. I think I could, instead of Rose, Butler, and Moore, I think you easily could start Portis, Gibson, and Gasol.
Moore is not 5'11".
He's 5'4". No, and he's a little bit taller than that, but yeah. I mean, he's not. I mean, he's not.
No,
really.
Portis can't play small forward. In any case. I know that there's a lot of excitement about Portis because he's had some nice games, but you want to guess the number of games this season where he scored more than 10 points?
4.
Yeah, it's 5 games.
Yeah.
He's had double-digit rebounds in 2 games. And to be quite honest, he doesn't do a ton else. He's blocked a few shots, he's grabbed a few steals, but not at such a rate that you would get really excited about it. So I think for the next 2 weeks, I think what you could expect from Portis, so to give everybody something to go off of here, I think maybe 12, 13 points a game, 8 rebounds. Does that sound high to you or low?
That sounds about right. And basically, you know what that is? That's a little bit better than a player you loathe, Aaron Gordon.
That is a little better than Gordon. And I think he's probably good for 3/4 of a block and 3/4 of a steal, Portis.
So those numbers, I mean, none of those numbers jump off the page. And this is the difference between Portis, I think, when you watch him in real life versus his fantasy production. like if you watch him in real life, he really does jump off the screen. Like his energy is terrific. I think he's going to be a really good player. Like he should be getting more minutes, I think, for that squad. But
and you make a good point, Daniel. That's probably why people are excited about him, because there has been so much talk about what a good player he is.
Yeah.
It sort of reminds me, Kyle and I talked a lot about this with his crush, Stanley Johnson. Like when I watch Stanley Johnson, I think like there's a good player. Like that guy's going to be able to be a good player, but it doesn't necessarily translate to the fantasy goodness that you're hoping for. And then when you stack on top of that Mirotic is coming back and it's just going to be a muddled mess. Like, and what, Noah's going to eventually come back. So Portis is going to be the fifth guy in the rotation again.
I think Noah's out for the year. So
is he out for the entire year?
Yeah, he's out for the year.
I saw some comments today from Hoiberg. This is the only reason I brought it up, because Hoiberg, this could be old. This could be an old note. Hoiberg was saying that even when Noah returns, Portis will remain in the rotation. So
I'm guessing that was an old quote. Like, I mean, I'd be like, if Noah comes back this year, I will drink cat water again. Like that. That's how sure I am. That there's no way Noah's coming back. He could already barely move. Without his latest injury. Like there's no way I can envision that guy coming back this year.
In any case, there's going to be 4 or 5 big guys there. I think the only one that you really is a must own is Powell.
Yeah, that's the other interesting part here. Like Taj Gibson, like he had like one Tyson Chandler game where it was a complete anomaly where the numbers looked really good, but like I don't see. Even with him getting 30 minutes a game, tremendous production there. Like, I don't think he's a must-own player.
What tremendous production are you seeing from Taj Gibson?
Yeah, as I was saying that, I was like, I don't even know that. Like, no, because I think this was the game against Cleveland where he had some really great plays, but then I remember looking at his stat line and it's nothing like really even stuck out.
It was probably his best game of the season, or he had a 6-block game earlier in the season against Milwaukee, so kind of throw that one away. I think the game against Cleveland was probably his best all-around game.
Yeah, and it looked like go ahead.
He had 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks.
Yeah.
That's like the pinnacle of what he'll reach. The next game, he turned around and had 5 points, 7 rebounds,
right,
which is a lot more along the lines of his averages. I'm not interested in him.
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
Tonight so far, 2 points, and 3 rebounds and no blocks. And so it's like, I'm just not overly excited for any Bulls front court player besides Powell. I'm just
going to surprise you, but you know who his stat line sort of looks like so far this season?
Aaron Gordon.
No, Taj Gibson.
Yeah,
it could look like Gordon. I'm not debating that. I think his average is Taj Gibson's averaging 7.5 points, 7 rebounds, 1 block, and a half of a steal.
Oh, that's so bad.
This other player that I am thinking of is averaging 7.5 points, 7 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, and 1 steal per game.
Jeff Withey?
Clint Capella.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, I guess the thing that's surprising with that, I would think Clint's averages would be higher just because he had a stretch where he was just, which led you to make the absurd comments where he's Whiteside and Gobert combined.
No, so here's my point, and here's why I'm making the point, even though it kind of makes Capella not look great. There's a scenario still where Capella gets traded or Dwight gets traded, and Capella has similar stats to Gobert and Whiteside. That's why I think he's worth holding on to. There's no scenario where Taj Gibson gets a lot more minutes or playing time or opportunity and turns into anything more than this.
No.
So
yeah,
that's the difference between the two. Whether you believe that happens to Capella or not, like I think you can make a rational argument on either case, but this is Taj Gibson. Like this is who he is.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on Taj Gibson. He has zero upside, in my opinion, the rest of the year. He's going to have a couple, a game or two every now and then. It's going to make you think like, hey, maybe I should pick up this guy. But
don't do it.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say with Capella is I've had to abandon ship with you, man. As much as I love you, like the thing is with Capella, I think he does have the talent, whereas I don't think Gibson does anymore. Like Capella does have the talent to put up really fantasy friendly numbers, but I just don't see it. Like I guess if he gets traded to another team where he can somehow get legitimate over 30 minutes.
I think it's much more likely to happen in Houston.
But this is what like what makes you think that? Because we've seen so many games this year where Dwight's been out, and now they picked up Josh Smith. So even the games when Dwight's out, Capella he struggles so hard to hit that 24-minute mark. Like there's games with Dwight being out where he'll still only get like 15 to 17 minutes. So like I just don't see him, reaching a fantasy friendly level this year for the Rockets. Even if Dwight does get traded.
Oh, I think that's a fair comment. I just think he's their center of the future. Like I think that when they think a year or two down the road and they think about who's their building blocks on the team, I think it's Harden, it's probably Ariza and Capella. I don't think Dwight's in that picture. And
yeah, no, I agree with you. Dwight's not in there.
And I think Capella can play, man. And so I think you're seeing the points that he can score. Like he's not going to score at much higher rate than that. He's grabbing a lot of rebounds per minute. And I actually think he'll increase his block numbers once Dwight's out of the way. Like I think the reason his blocks have been somewhat low this year, although he's still averaging 2 per 36 minutes, but last season he averaged almost 4 per 36 minutes. Anyway, I think the reason that his blocks are down is because he's playing power forward. And I think there's probably something to be said for the fact that when Dwight goes out, he's not entirely filling in for Dwight. He's sort of sticking with his own role, and they're plugging in for Dwight when he's gone. But pretty much every time you point to him playing big minutes in Houston, he's putting up big stats, like stats that would be enough to alter the standings of your fantasy league. So I just hold on to those guys as long as I can. And, until we know that there isn't going to be a move made, particularly with a team like Houston that makes so many moves and they're not afraid to do something. Just 2 more weeks. I'm holding on to him a couple more weeks. But when there is no trade, like under the scenario where there's no trade and it's Dwight Howard and Capella there, then I basically am going to go and assume that he's Taj Gibson now. Like there's no real room for him the rest of the season to realize that upside, and I'm probably going to drop him in a lot of leagues.
Yeah. All right. So I'll just ask you one question on Capella. So in his last 30 games, so I'm not sure how many of those.
I'm looking at his game log right now.
All right. So stop looking. Stop looking.
Okay.
So in his last 30 games, and I'm assuming at least 10 of those were without Dwight. I don't have the exact numbers here.
No, Dwight hasn't missed that many games.
All right. Well, there were at least several without Dwight. And
I think Dwight's actually played more games than you're giving him credit for, but go ahead.
Yeah, I wish I had that number up, but I don't. So 30 games, how many times has Capella hit 30 minutes?
Oh, not many. 0, I would guess.
No, it's actually hit it in 2.
Okay.
It's like right on that 30-minute mark. But like that's what I would need Capella to get to really be producing, to help me like swing a league. And I just don't see it.
Yeah,
like, I'm with you.
I think it only happens if he gets traded or Dwight gets traded.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Some of those games, were easily with Dwight.
Dwight's missed 7 games throughout the entire season.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And like I said, I think, as they have Capella right now being the power forward, I think that there is probably some, what do you say? I don't know, some desire to keep him in that role and not like have him switch roles and play the center while Dwight is out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think maybe once Dwight's out of town or he's out of town and he's the full-time like starting center, I think you might see his minutes. Now, again, it might only get up 28 minutes a game, but I think he can do.
If he's getting 28, then I think he'll be useful.
Yeah.
So
I think he's probably 10 points, 10 and 11 rebounds, and 2.5 or 3 blocks or something. So, which again is 85, 90% of what Gobert gave you last year.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, in my I had him in 3 leagues and I dumped him in 2 finally. So I kept him. I kept him in one league where I basically I'm in first place and I can afford to kind of have a back.
And that stuff matters.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear me talk about Capella anymore, though. Let's move on.
Let's move on, please. No more Capella. All right. So a player that I know you want to talk about, and a guy who has burned me. I'm sure he's burned a lot of the listeners out there this year, and that's Kyrie Irving.
Oh no, let's talk about quickly Miles Turner.
Oh, my bad. I skipped over to Miles Turner.
That's maybe because a week ago you said you had no interest in picking up Miles Turner.
I'm not gonna lie. This is one player where you were ahead of the curve. You were ahead of me on this guy. And I have no shame admitting I was totally wrong. You were 100% right on Miles Turner. He's the real deal.
Yes. So he on Thursday night. Thank you, by the way. On Thursday night, he finally got the start in Indianapolis. Had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 1 block, was 9 of 17 from the field. And here's what Frank Vogel said before the game. He said, "It's glaring to me that we need to increase his role, his minutes, his everything." That is again, we can't always trust the coaches, but that's a pretty good endorsement from his
That's
coach.
like a marriage proposal. We need to increase his everything. That's that.
That's like a romantic comedy.
I know, right? Yeah.
He scored in double figures in 7 straight games, basically since you gave him the kiss of death and said,
I know.
He's been great. And you know what, to be honest, I'm shocked at the level. I thought there would be, no, that's not fair either, because he's had a lot of blocks. In those 7 games, he's had 7, 9, 15 blocks. So that's pretty good. He hasn't rebounded as much as I thought, but he's had some high scoring games, like 20 on Thursday night. He had 31 against Golden State. He had 25 against Denver. Like, I expected him to be in like the 10 to 12 point range, and it's starting to become apparent that he could be in like the, I don't know what, 15 to 18 point range.
Yeah, I would think that the lower side of that.
Yeah.
Probably for averaging. But yeah, I mean, he
14 to 16 points is probably a better range.
Yeah. With games where he does, post 25
right.
though, or 30, like you said, occasionally. Like, and the cool thing about him, man, is that, it's one thing. It's similar to our boy where he got you in a no halftime challenge with Salah, Salah Mejri.
You did not get me in a no halftime challenge because you did not accept my challenge.
Anyway, but so how there's some guys who, for certain teams, they're just not going to be playable, right? Like Miles Turner it basically seems like a matchup-proof guy as well. Like,
yeah.
You saw the numbers he put up against Golden State.
He did it against Golden State. He did it against Denver.
Golden State was probably his best game. Yeah, Golden State was probably his best game of the year. So, like, he's just a tremendous player.
That Denver game was not far behind. 25 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal.
Yeah. So, I mean, tremendous player, high upside. Vogel's going to use him more. I mean, all things that scream, if this guy's somehow still available, go pick him up.
Please pick him up.
I mean,
he's not available in any of my leagues.
Yeah, not mine either.
Partially because I picked him up in some of those, but
I mean, I didn't pick him in any. I mean, like I thought he was only going to get those minutes because all those guys were banged up.
Right.
But those, the guys have now Indiana's gotten a little bit healthier, but Vogel's seen the light, man, and now he's proposing marriage to Turner. But yeah, I mean, like, and he's fun to watch too.
Yeah.
I mean, super talented guy.
All right, back to Kyrie Irving. So one of the things I want to start trying to do a little bit more on our Friday shows is sort of like a deep dive into some of the players that are interesting, either because they're performing well or they're performing poorly. And I can't think of a better guy to start that off with than Kyrie Irving. I think he's been you own Kyrie in a couple places, don't you, Daniel?
I drafted that guy in so many of my leagues.
I did too.
Yeah, I went Kyrie crazy, and it's ended up costing me right now. And I'm just like, I keep praying, but like time's running out on this guy.
Yeah, let me give you his stats this season so far. So he's averaging 27 minutes. He's averaging 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, less than a steal, 1 3-pointer, shooting 40% from the field. He's on a per game basis, he's the 108th best player in the NBA this season in
He's
8 category leagues.
He's basically Kyrie Sloan, as in Donald Sloan. That's what he is. If I read those numbers to you, you didn't know they were Kyrie Irving's. I mean, like, what guard would you say that is? I mean,
yeah, 15. I mean,
it's just.
Well, what's funny is the assists are so low, right? And then,
Yeah.
So you wouldn't necessarily guess point guard. Like I might guess. Oh, I'm trying to think like Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal scores a little bit better than that.
I mean, I don't even know who that reminds me of. It's just.
So I went into his NBA stats page to see if I could dig around and figure out what's going on with this guy, and maybe give our listeners some hope. So, I mean, obviously the big thing that's going on here is simply the minutes. I mean, he's averaging 8 less minutes per game. Do you think that will continue, or do you think that, or excuse me, last year he averaged 36 minutes a game. This year he's averaging 26, 10 minutes less per game so far. Do you think he recovers? I assume he does, but I want to get your take on it.
I do, but a couple of things concern me. One is that Cleveland is really going to have that 1 seed locked up in the East. They probably already have it locked up, quite honestly. So there's no need to really play Kyrie 36, 38 minutes a game, which is probably what we all wanted and maybe expected at some point. So, like, I definitely think the minutes are going to come up. And the other thing that worries me, though, is I almost said Blatt. Ty Lue said he wants to play a 10-man rotation, and he wants to play at a much quicker pace. So, and he wants to use Mo Williams more. So that makes me think a couple minutes less for Kyrie as well. So I'm thinking he's eventually going to settle in to around 30, max like 34 to 35 minutes a game, which is still pretty good, but a few minutes less than probably he would have played under Blatt. And if he ends up only playing about 32, I wouldn't be that surprised either. Because look, Cleveland has. I mean, why get this guy? Who's had injury prone to begin with? Like, why play him to the ground during the regular season, which means nothing for them?
Right. No, that's a good point. So, assuming that recovers or at least bounces back, like if he's at 27 minutes a game, that's going to be a problem for you. But if he gets around 32, 33, 34 minutes per game, I think he can be productive. I think he can still be close to a second, a borderline second round player. Now, here's what makes me say that. Looking at his advanced stats, his numbers look pretty similar. Like his usage rate this year is 30%. Last year it was at 26%. So that's actually up. His assist rate is at 23%. Last year it was at 24%. His rebounding rate is actually up 7% compared to 5% last year. His turnover rate is the exact same. Basically, his advanced stats look exactly the same except for one of them, and that's true shooting percentage. And just for our listeners who aren't totally in tune with what that means, that's really his shooting percentage adjusted for 3-pointers and free throws. So last year he shot a very solid 58% true shooting percentage. This year he's down around 49%, which is pretty poor. And this is where the NBA stats stuff really gets cool. You can really dig in and see a bunch of different things. So I looked into his shot tracking stats, and really the only discrepancy, he's driving similar amount. He's shooting, it's not like he's shooting a lot more shots being guarded. Really the only difference is last season, 15% of his shots were catch and shoot 3-pointers. Okay. And he shot 47% on those shots, which is very good. This year, that's down to 10% of his shots are catch and shoot 3-pointers, and he's only shooting 25%. So his catch and shoot 3-pointers are down drastically. The number that he's made, that's affecting his shooting percentage. That's affecting his scoring rate. And it kind of can all be traced back to that. Now with Lue changing and becoming the new coach, do you think that, and maybe it's because of Lue, maybe it's because Kyrie Irving gets going again. Do you think that that number recovers? Like, do you think he can get more catch and shoot 3-pointers? I assume that he's not a worse shooter this year. So I think that that 25% should turn back into 47%. I don't really have any questions about that. I'm just wondering if you think he can shoot it as frequently as he did last season.
I mean, the catch and shoot numbers are interesting for a couple different reasons. Like the first one is, so like when LeBron first came back to Cleveland, a lot of people said they're not a good fit. LeBron and Kyrie are not a good fit precisely for the reason, I guess you could say this year, is that Kyrie is not a good catch and shoot player. Like that's never been his game. Like he's a complete ISO player, dominating the ball, going to the hoop, getting a shot off the dribble. So like seeing that percentage the catch and shoot where he's 47% last year, that was pretty impressive. I would have thought it wouldn't have been that high.
Yeah, on a lot of shots, right? Like 15% of shots is a high percentage.
Yeah. Not surprising that he got that many because, when you have LeBron handling the ball so much, that's kind of what's open to you. LeBron drives and the defense gets sucked in and there's, you have open shooters. So Kyrie kind of had to be catch and shooter, kind of like Kevin Love and J.R. Smith. But so, I mean, I'm not sure if he's going to get as many shots in terms of the volume, but I would expect that percentage number to go up.
And that's kind of my main point here is like, if this was like a finish at the rim percentage number, then maybe we could say, well, his injury probably is preventing him from getting the lift or whatever that enables him to finish at the rim. But this is basically just catch and shoot, right? Like he should be able to catch and shoot when he's 60 years old and hit about the same percentage as he does now. So I'm thinking this is just small sample size. He's been unlucky so far. I think that 25% is going to recover. And I think a lot of his scoring value is going to jump up. Now, obviously, to get it to fully translate to fantasy value, he's going to have the minutes come up with it. But I expect that 25% to turn around pretty quickly, unless for some reason his shot is broken and we're just not aware of it. But I think that's really unlikely. I think more likely than not, it's gonna return to form that it was last year.
Yeah, the last reason why it wouldn't recover would be the same. It's just because like you said, changes the offense and makes it so.
Don't you think it's more likely that he gets those shots and lose offense than not?
I don't know. I mean, the thing that you keep hearing from not only Lou, and then you keep reading that the Cleveland papers, I know me and you were talking about this pre-show, is how much Lou wants to run. And Lou doesn't want them in half-court offenses and, having those, exactly the catch and shoot threes, really. So I guess maybe he wouldn't mind catch and shoot threes as much. But, I think the one of the
catch and shoot happens a lot in transition. And actually, that's I noticed a lot of his when I was looking through his so NBA stats also has it broken by when they take their shots in the shot clock.
Right.
And a lot of his shots come early in the shot clock. So a lot of his catch and shoot 3-pointers. So if they're running, there's definitely a chance he could take the shots during those opportunities as well.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. But I guess that would make some sense, right? Given today's NBA, but in style of play. But I mean, I do think though, if Lou, if he's actually not full of crap, and the Cavs offense does go to a more up-tempo game, as me and you discussed, Cleveland plays at the 28th, 28th in the league in pace right now, but they were ranked number 1 in the league in efficiency for fast breaks. So Lou wants them to run. The advanced stats say they should be running more. And if they do run more, who's going to be the main beneficiary of them running more? Kyrie.
You'd think Kyrie and LeBron, really.
Well, yeah, but even I would say Kyrie would be a bigger beneficiary than LeBron in that. LeBron's old, man. He's got too many. I mean, that body's taken so much.
It's not going to be Mozgov and Kevin Love is, I guess, what I'm saying.
Right. So you're right. So LeBron's going to have the ball or Kyrie, but I'm just praying that Lou ramps up that offense. I mean, you've seen the last couple of games; they put up, over 115 points. I think both games. I'm hoping that continues, and then Kyrie can have the ball lead the fast break, and then get some more assists for us too. Dear God, I mean, I think he's got like 5 assists in one time.
I don't think the assists are coming up. Like I said, his assist rate is right in line with his career averages. So it will come up as his minutes come up. I think the only thing that's unexpected so far is really his shooting percentage, which is basically boils down to those catch and shoot 3-pointers, which I think are going to come up. So,
yeah, I mean,
I like for him to rebound and be close to what he was last season on a per minute basis. And so overall, he's going to be a little bit worse, but still, that's like a top 25 player. And he's been nothing close to that so far this season.
And if everything you're saying is true, there's enough owners like me who are pissed enough that they have to deal with this guy who's been killing them all year. So what I've actually done, look, I already have him in so many leagues. I basically went all in on Kyrie. So I'm trying to trade for him everywhere I can because you can get, man, you talk about buying low on a guy. I mean, please, I bet you could trade Bobby Portis for a Kyrie in some leagues right now. So, if you do think that he, like Mark's saying, and I guess I don't think he's going to be a top. I don't know. So I'm confused on this guy. So I don't know if he's going to be top 20, but he should still get close to where he was last year. So I am trying to trade for him in places where I can, because you can get him well below market value at this point.
Yeah, I think he finishes. So from this point forward, I think he recovers that catch and shoot percentage. I think he ends up something like 21 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists,
2 steals.
No, but like 1.2, 1.3 steals, close to 2 3-pointers, and the shooting percentage has come up. So I think that's a top 25 player.
Yeah, that's just so surprising though, because he's not a good shooter, right? So
he's a very good shooter.
Oh, you think he is? I
think he is.
Well, I don't think catch and shoot 3 shooter. He's good off the dribble.
Numbers I was looking at today were very, very good last season.
Even before last year though too.
I didn't look at that. I just looked at the last 2 seasons. But I think of him as a very good shooter.
Yeah,
generally.
I'm trying to think of his first few years in the league. I don't ever remember him doing a catch and shoot because he's had the ball so much.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas that was just a foreign concept to him. But yeah, I mean, looking at the numbers that you just read off, looks like you got accustomed to it pretty well.
So Daniel, I want to get into our second chance fantasy league, which is going to start pretty soon. But first, let's do a little no halftime segment here. No halftime, obviously sponsor of the show. Daniel gave us the promo code at the beginning. You can go there and get a free $25 for using the promo code B-Ball at sign up. It's a really cool way to play daily fantasy sports in a way that you can really just target one player, either for good or for bad. And I think based on our discussion, Daniel, what do you think about this? I like the idea of targeting Bobby Portis in a negative way.
Yeah, I'm definitely in favor. I'm just looking at Bobby Portis' numbers. So the first half is complete for the Bulls-Lakers game, and Bobby Portis, a tremendous half, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I think you can use that to your advantage. So
do you think I could get Miles Turner versus Bobby Portis?
Not from a savvy guy, but could you get maybe 1 or 2 people to take a flyer on that? Maybe.
I recommend our listeners give that one a try. Who else do you think you could get up against Portis? Rodney Hood.
That would be a good one to try.
Rodney Hood's been going very well lately.
Trying to think of another.
Those would be really obvious ones.
I was going to say Kenneth Reed, but I'm like, that guy's too risky. That's a guy that I would like to dig into on a show one day. An intriguing guy. The minutes really are never there from him, and maybe that's just always going to be the case.
And by the way, if any of our listeners want us to do a deep dive on any of these players and really dig into the NBA stats and see if we can figure out what's either alienating the player or what's making them go so well, we can do that. So let us know. But back to our no halftime challenge here. I'm thinking again. I think I want to go against Portis here. Trying to think else. Who else? Who else do you think we could entice people to play against Portis? I mean, what's he going to give you during this time? Like we said, maybe 12 points, 8 rebounds.
Yeah, I'm thinking 12 points, 8 rebounds, and a block.
So we've got to beat that.
What about no? Everyone loves Giannis. Chris Middleton.
Yeah,
Everyone's always sleeping on Chris Middleton.
he would be a very good one, and I would feel like you would win that contest like 98% of the time.
That would be almost a lock. Middleton's been really good. I mean, I wonder. The funny thing is when you're looking at if you looked at Middleton's stats when Jason Kidd was out, he was doing so well. I wonder if he was like in any way trying to sabotage Kidd coming back and coaching.
It really was. I think our friend of the podcast, JJ Kelly, tweeted that out about how good he was doing without Kidd.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that would be a good one. And again, a guy who's overlooked. I was going to say Giannis at first. I'd actually prefer Middleton, and I don't know how many people would do Giannis because a lot of people just get obsessed with Giannis and think he's putting up numbers better than he actually is this year. So
all right, so again, if you want to try no halftime, you can play against me or Daniel. You can do a free contest now, or you can do actual money contest. It's a fun way to compete against your friends or try to target some specific players and make some money.
And hopefully you guys did listen to when I was tweeting out yesterday to take advantage of Mark. And
nobody took me up on the challenge.
And his absurd.
Even you didn't even take me up on it. I emailed it to you.
I never got that email. You never sent me a link. Basically, if you guys remember, the challenge that me and Mark were going to do was Salah Mejri, who I like for Dallas because Zaza was going to be out, so he would be their starting center. But I saw that Dallas was matched up against Golden State, so I knew Salah. I don't know if Mark, did a deeper delve like he did. Look what Mark does for Kyrie Irving. Look at his deep analysis. But Mark did not look into the fact that Salah played Golden State, so he wasn't going to get a lot of minutes. Now I have Aaron Gordon tomorrow against the Celtics, so I need Aaron Gordon. Let me just read off what Salah did against Golden State. So Salah played 13 minutes, 2 points, 3 rebounds, and a turnover. I know you're not high on Aaron Gordon, but don't you think Aaron Gordon can even Aaron Gordon can defeat that?
We'll never know. We'll never know since you never accepted the challenge.
I'm so mad at myself. Like I did not get a link, man. Anyway, but yeah,
that seems like what a coward would say. All right, let's talk about our.
That was dirty.
Let's talk about our second chance league here.
Let's do it.
First, though, I have one interesting thing to tell you about the All-Star announcements. The skills challenge, which is usually the guards running around doing the passes and the dribbling. Do you want to know who's going to be in it this season?
DeMarcus Cousins,
Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, and Karl Anthony Towns.
And they've had no big men since 2003, since when they started the skills competition.
Now it's all big men.
Now they went big man crazy.
Yeah. So the rest of the show is going to be about the.
Hold on, real quickly. We owe it to the listeners to at least get our quick thoughts on the reserves that were selected today. Do you have anyone that you're upset about?
Nah.
You weren't hurt.
I'm good.
You weren't hurt that Manu didn't make it.
I knew I was prepared for that. I mean, listen, like there's always guys who sit out, and then these guys, all the snubs end up making anyway. I thought Dirk probably deserved to be there. He'll probably still get in. Yeah,
that's the thing. The second that Anthony Davis got selected, I'm like, guys, don't worry. He's gonna get hurt and not play anyway. So that's gonna be an open roster spot.
I was surprised that I'm gonna leave that one alone. I was surprised that Aldridge made the team over Dirk. Other than that, it went about as I expected. Yeah, well, I was glad to see Isaiah Thomas made the team.
Yeah. I mean, only thing for me is, the thing is, you knew the Spurs needed 2 players. So who was that second player going to be? I mean, Duncan, has Duncan done enough, just minute wise to get in? I don't
think you can make a statistical argument that LaMarcus Aldridge has been better than Tim Duncan.
That's what I'm saying. So, and you think because everyone just loves, everyone loves Duncan, and especially the coaches who are voting for him, I thought they would have put Duncan in. But I mean, like no Duncan and no Dirk. I think it's the first time since
97.
Yeah, where there's no Duncan and no Dirk, which is insane to think about. Yeah. I mean, I bet you we have listeners who were their whole life they've always had it. They could count on a Dirk or a Duncan in the All-Star game.
Probably Tyler.
Wow,
Probably
that's
Tyler.
actually true. That's
all
true.
right. So the rest of the podcast is going to be about our Second Chance League, which is we are going to be broadcasting the auction for live on Monday's show. I guess not broadcast. Well, we could broadcast it. Anyway, it's going to be part of the podcast. So if you want to listen to how the auction goes down, Daniel and I, and maybe Tyler will join us, are going to be talking through the auction. Anyway, it's going to happen Sunday night. The rest of the show, we're going to be going over the emails we got, some of the most promising ones, and Daniel is going to be telling me whether to include them or not include them in the league. It's up to you, my friend.
I am the voice of God when it comes to this.
Yeah, basically. So if you don't care about this league at all, you can go ahead and go write a nice review on iTunes for us and quit listening to the podcast now.
No, I think they should still listen, right?
No, I mean, if you're just here for fantasy stuff and you don't want to, if you don't care about this league, then I don't want to waste your time.
All right, I think you guys should stay and listen because
I think you should too, but we already got their download, so who cares?
wow, you are first you take a dig at me, you call me a coward. Now you're making fun of our listeners, saying we only want the download.
We got a bunch of emails we got to go through here, so
all right,
I'm going to read them to you. You tell me in, out, or maybe.
All right,
okay.
I'm ready.
And I think we only have 5 spots, maybe 4 spots left.
Because Mark's entire family is in our league. Did I get
right.
hold on, I get an email from Mark say it's like, yeah, my 7 other brothers all want to be in the league.
No, I didn't say that. That didn't happen. I don't have 7 other brothers.
All right, go ahead. Start reading.
So this is from Brendan. He says, I love the show. Would love an opportunity to join. I want to learn more about Urban Outfitters Girl and Mark's love for Clint Capella. I promise I'll stay active all season and won't miss the draft.
He did compliment me, which I like. You mentioned Clint Capella, which I don't like, because that's a maybe.
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 He didn't really do what we asked, which
Yeah,
was, that's why you deserve a second chance. Your team deserves a second chance. This might be my, I don't know. This might be my favorite one. It's from Bryce. He says, I've been playing fantasy for 2 seasons. He comes from Australia. I need to put a link in here to this picture so you can see it. Anyway, I came across your podcast. He says he loves the podcast. So he plays in a league where last season he finished dead last, and the punishment was that he had to pose in his underwear in the George Costanza pose. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Wait, what's the George Costanza pose?
I gotta send you this.
I watched almost every Seinfeld episode. So what's the?
You know the picture where he does a bunch of posing in his underwear?
No.
Here, I'm emailing it to you right now.
I should know this, right? I don't.
You should definitely know this, and it's hilarious. He did a very good job reenacting this picture.
It was like just in one episode, George Costanza just kept posing in underwear.
I think it was for a love interest. He put some pictures in there, but I think it was for the person developing his film.
Oh, yeah. That episode's starting to ring a bell now, but I still don't.
Go check your email.
All right.
Anyway.
Gang. All right. So anyway, so go ahead. Finish the email. Is that the end of the email?
It's a very long email, but anyway, basically his point.
Oh dear God! Oh dear God! Dear God! Yeah, this guy's in.
Yeah, I think his point is basically he deserves to be in because he had to take this picture.
Yeah, that you deserve a second chance, my friend. Bryce, welcome to the league.
Bryce, you're in, my friend.
I wish that we could tweet this out, but I guess we would need Bryce's consent.
Yeah. Should we make him contingent on us being able to tweet out the picture?
Yeah.
Bryce, you got to email in and say that we can tweet out the picture.
Bryce, give us your permission. If you want, Bryce, we can even block out your face somehow, maybe.
No.
Oh, wow. You are really harsh today. All right. Yeah, Bryce, no, I guess we can't. Yeah, if we can tweet out that photo, that's really funny.
Anyway.
The only thing that I don't like about them, since I have this up, and hopefully our listeners will be able to comment on this once they see the photo. Bryce, why aren't you smiling in this photo?
George isn't really smiling either.
A little bit. He's got like a smirk. Bryce seems very upset. Like he's like, I'm going to kill the person who's making me do this, doesn't he?
He may very well be upset. It could be an accurate reflection of how he feels inside. All right, we gotta go a little faster here. Charlie, Says, what's up? I need a second chance because, and this one's a little more somber than the last one.
That's
This
all right.
is sort of what you asked for, second chance in life.
Oh, I love second chance in life.
I'm recovering from back surgery where my spine was fused. I suffered the injury when I was 14 and I wasn't able to operate on it because I was still growing. I've been dealing with the pain for 2 decades and it's gotten so bad I had to quit all sports and they couldn't even pick up my 2 baby girls. Says it's so bad. Somebody should have slapped me around.
Stop, Mark. I can't take anymore. This is too sad. Oh, I'm starting to cry in the air.
Yeah, it's bad. There's a whole nother paragraph about
20 years of just pain. Oh, when he's 14. I don't know what to do with this guy. I kind of like him. I don't think he deserves a second chance.
So it's starting to feel like that, yeah.
I mean, I think Charlie's going to have to be in. That's a lot of pain, Charlie. I feel you, man. I'm with you. Second chance in life, you will be granted in our league. Next.
Oh, here's the other thing. He has to go to work at 4:30 in the morning.
Dear God.
Yeah.
That's first of all. There should be I know we have presidents coming up. That should be a debate question. Like that should be not allowed. That's illegal. 4:30 in the morning. That's absurd.
All right. Here's one from Iceland.
Well, we have some listeners in crazy places.
I think the name is Helgi, but I don't know. It's Helgi.
All right.
Anyway, he's in Iceland. Said he's been trying to get his stiff fingers to type the words here because it's so cold, which I actually didn't realize it was cold in Iceland. I learned on the Mighty Ducks movie that Greenland is full of ice and Iceland is very nice, but evidently that's not true. It gets cold in Iceland.
Hold on. Oh, you thought you were just gonna slip in that little comment without me without me commenting?
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know what to comment on first. The little rhyme you just did there.
That was from the movie.
What's the rhyme again?
It says so Coach Bombay, Emilio Estevez's character, is dating the person from Iceland, the coach from Iceland, who is a woman, and he says like something like it must be cold in Iceland. I don't remember the quote, but then she says back to him, she says, no, Iceland is actually warm. She says the way to remember is Greenland is full of ice and Iceland is very nice. So having never been there, I assumed.
So then this guy's lying to us?
Well, no, I think the movie maybe was lying to us.
I mean, a whole nother show we can talk about why you're watching that movie. Anyway,
it's one of my favorites. Anyway, he has Jonas Valanciunas, he has Rudy Gobert, he has Eric Bledsoe. He wrote a pretty long email about a bunch of other reasons, but I think that's the gist of it here. Is he's just had a bunch of injuries.
I mean, Annie may be a liar because we don't know this whole. Is Iceland now? I got to Google after the show, do due diligence, and see if is Iceland warm or cold. So that's a maybe for him.
All right, maybe for Iceland.
Yeah. Although I think it's cool we have a listener in Iceland though.
Very cool. Oh, so then what he's saying, so the other part that's maybe relevant here is the last 2 weeks when he's finally got his guys back besides Bledsoe, he's gone up. He would have beat every team in his league except for the team he played 2 weeks in a row.
Dude, that's the most annoying thing in head-to-head leagues when that happens. It's just, man, like a league when you have, you're going up against someone with Curry and
I think he's made a pretty compelling fantasy basketball reason to get in. But again, you're the judge here, so you can decide.
Mark, we can't have liars in the league of second chances.
We got to confirm this. The Iceland is
I'm gonna after the show. I will confirm Iceland, the status of Iceland.
He's talking about his wife bringing him an ice pick and some warm water so that he can.
In all seriousness, like I'm with you too. I learned several years ago that Iceland even not give it's a misnomer, the name. It's really not icy and it's not cold. So maybe he doesn't even live in Iceland.
That would be an interesting twist here. All right, so here's what Peter says. He said, love the show, have never missed an episode, which I can't even say. So
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So the episodes that after Kyle left the show and then you would I think because you wanted to figure out which host you actually wanted to become one of your partners and lovers and best friends. So you made there were lots of us who were doing shows
All right, yeah.
that you weren't on. How many of those did you actually listen to, like from the beginning until the end?
I rarely listen to the shows afterwards from beginning to end. Almost never, just because I mean, I remember all the content in the show, so I'll listen to specific sections, but why would you go back and listen to the whole thing from beginning to end?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, do you listen to all the shows beginning to end?
No, I mean the ones that you weren't on though.
Oh, there's only like 2 that I wasn't on, and I listened to most of those, although those were like 3-hour Kyle marathons.
Oh, that's right.
So
All right. Fair point.
You guys were talking about everything.
All right, moving on.
So he's never missed a show. He was hoping for the permanent edition of Daniel, and he's happy that it happened.
Oh, thank you.
Doesn't have a sob story other than he's an avid DFS player, and he wants to test his skills against somebody better. And this is his last point. I have a wife and children, so other than fantasy sports, my life is over.
All very true statements by Peter.
To reinvigorate my otherwise sad and boring existence. Thanks for the consideration.
Peter, all true. That's a tough one. That's going to be a maybe, though. I mean,
All right.
It's hard. Like, the problem is, Mark, you showed me that picture with like the photo guy, like so early in the emails. It's tough to.
I know. I knew I should have saved that one. Yeah. All right. Here's Judd. I play fantasy hoops this year. Oh, I didn't play because my friends hate sports. I live in Chicago, and all they do is watch. He said they especially hate basketball. So I live in Chicago. All my friends do is watch the Blackhawks. And all right, so he's a huge Pacers fan, which is a plus.
Wait, why is that a plus?
Because Pacers were my favorite team.
Oh, it says your team. No. Yeah.
All right, so Judd.
I think Judd needs new friends, quite honestly, doesn't it?
I think that's what he's going for, a second chance with new friends.
But this league is just the whole Mark Roberts family.
You're going to be in it. Tyler's going to be in it. There's these other second chance people. You can make friends with some of my family.
That's true.
All right.
It's a maybe for Judd.
Yeah. This person didn't email me their name, but it's from
John Doe. It's John Doe.
Yeah. I can't make out the email address. I can spell out the letters, but I don't think that's going to do much for you. It says, hello, Mark and Danny. Here's the thing.
Whoa. I hate being called Danny.
Now, I knew you were going to say that. And here's the other thing is, do you want to know how he spelled my name several times in the email?
If he did M-A-R-K, that means he never listened to the show.
He did M-I-R-K a couple of times.
Oh, man. He doesn't even listen to the show.
He says I have listened to the podcast since episode 1. I reviewed early. He used the Nancy basketball airplane review, which is his initials for NBA. Here's what he says. I have 2 kids, a dog, and an hour-and-a-half commute. My company's going through a merger, and I have a couple of months left at my job. Fantasy basketball is how I power through right now.
Oh, God.
There are a couple of power players in my league, and I am not one. I might make the playoffs, but I'm definitely not going to make any money. Here's his last comment. That's probably going to get you. Danny, you hit on a girl in retail and at the wrong time. Holiday season in retail is terrible. My wife works at American Eagle. So he's basically saying your Urban Outfitters girl wasn't interested because she was so busy. Because retail's crazy.
Yeah, that wasn't the case.
So I feel like he had some good points. Like, you want to give the guy who basically this his only thing in life right now, he's getting fired. He has an hour-and-a-half commute. All he cares about is fantasy basketball, and he's not doing well in his league. But he spelled my name wrong and your name wrong.
Well, no, he just like, if there's one name that I would just like cringe, like Danny. Like, I don't go by Danny. I've loathed Danny. Anyone who calls me Danny gets beat up. That's not true because I don't fight. But Danny, I just loathe. And then you, basically, so if he was listening to the show, since every episode or whatever, that basically he thought you're saying, Mark, you can find me, Mark F. Roberts on Twitter. That's Mark as in Mark Price.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't say that.
Right?
All right, we'll put him as a maybe. Maybe, right?
That's gonna be a maybe. I mean, he did have a couple points in the end. He salvaged that email, but it's gonna be tough to make it, John Doe.
So here's what Alan says. Alan's is pretty short and sweet. He says, I'm interested in joining the league I care the most about. I missed the draft because I misunderstood when draft day was. I have no idea how that happened, but it did. Now, I'm just hopeful to have a team that I was drafted by me that I can play with.
Yeah, Alan, you seem like a great guy, but I don't know if that's going to cut it.
That's a pretty compelling story, at least fantasy-wise. Like, why else would you need a second chance? You missed the draft. Now, if we knew why he missed the draft.
Right, but he missed the draft because he just doesn't, it's like he woke up one day, I just don't know when the draft was. How did that happen? That's, do you buy that, Mark? Do you really buy that, Mark with a K?
It's not compelling.
Yeah.
But it's a good reason, but not a compelling reason.
Yeah, I mean,
the detail is missing.
Yes, I mean, sadly, I'm just gonna have to go in the no category. Everyone can't be in the league, Mark. You have 17 family members, and they're demanding spots. We're limited.
All right, so this one is from Trey. Trey says, this is my first year managing the Friends and Family League that I am now participating in for my 5th year. So he's the commissioner. I won already, but last year I drafted too many rookies, traded around, lost players to injuries, and got knocked out by the eventual champion in the first round of the playoffs on a tiebreaker. This year, my team is in 9th, even though I have some really good players. I drafted Kyrie, planning to stash him. Tyreek went down, then Gobert. And I traded Kyrie Irving away for Bradley Beal, and Bradley Beal's injured. And Zaza Pachulia is out too. I want a fresh roster.
So
you're not even paying attention to Trey. You're not giving him his
No, I was paying attention. First of all, Zaza's been out 2 games, dude. Come on. You can't throw in a Zaza being out.
Well, I think he just said he logged in and saw that Zaza is out. Like, he's dealt with all these other injuries, and now Zaza's out too.
I was feeling that email until he tried to go one step further and sneak one over on us with the Zaza news. So it's gonna be a maybe for him.
Oh my goodness. You're not decisive. You've given nobody a no, and you've only put 2 people in.
Well, yeah, but we only have 4 spots, Mark. 4 to 5 spots.
4 to 5, yeah. All right. This one is from, how do you think you pronounce this name? A-K-I-E. Aki?
A-K-I-E. I would go Akia.
Akia?
I have no idea.
No, it's not Akia.
No, it's probably Aki. Or Aki.
I listened to the podcast for the first time and heard you guys advertise what you were calling a second chance league.
Oh.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good to have you.
Yeah. I'd like an opportunity, and here's why I love fantasy sports. But I've already made some bad trade decisions in my league. Not bad, but not good, because I suddenly dropped from 1st to 3rd following the trade. There were 2 trades. I traded Rudy Gay and Greg Monroe for Ish Smith and Nerlens Noel. He says it destroyed his team's chemistry.
That's funny. I do like that.
Let's see.
A little wit.
Now here's the second trade. I traded Andre Drummond. Sorry, it's getting late. For D'Angelo Russell and Brandon Jennings. He needed point guards. That's a pretty weak trade, though. You can't trade Drummond for Russell and Jennings.
I'm not gonna lie, Aki. I don't know what league you're in. That you were in 1st and now you're only in 3rd. But both those trades I'm not really a fan of. I think you would get destroyed by the Roberts family. I think they would just feast on you. Although I do agree with you. I had a league a couple years ago. I had Rondo. That's when Rondo went crazy, and it destroyed my chemistry. Just the whole team chemistry went down. So I know how that feels. But I don't know. Do you think we can put him in the league? He hasn't been a long. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I think he needs to listen to the show for another year or 2 before he can be in the second chance league.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to get through all these emails, but I got a couple more I want to read, and then maybe we can do the rest offline.
All right.
Josh says, I'm a big fan of the podcast. I listen to every episode for the thought-provoking, pitch-perfect analysis.
Oh, dude, this guy's already going to be in the league. I know it.
And the unfolding love story of Daniel and the Urban Outfitters girl. Also, sometimes I listen for the basketball stuff.
Yeah.
This would actually be a first chance league for me, as I have never been in an NBA season long fantasy league.
Huh.
I've done NFL for years. Well, Josh, thanks for listening, man. Even though you don't play fantasy basketball, that's impressive. I do NBA DFS about 4 to 5 days a week on average, with modest success. Fortunately, I don't have enough friends that are interested in staying in an NBA fantasy league, so I haven't been able to test my season-long abilities. This would be an awesome way to start things and keep up the good works.
Interesting. I mean, I'm gonna have to go to you. I'm gonna have to go to you for this one because I'm a little
you're
screwed
the
here.
judge.
But like he hit on all the things that basically he hit the essence of me. He hit Pitch Perfect, Urban Outfitter Girl. He played on all my weaknesses.
I think he had a well crafted email. I think the fact that he's never played fantasy basketball, so
I think
he listens to the show and he doesn't play. That's dedication.
All right, Josh, welcome to the league, my friend.
All right,
second chance for most, so first chance for you.
You want me to do one more?
One more.
Okay. This is from John. He says he drafted – this was originally a Twitter response, so it's short. He said he drafted Bledsoe, Favors, and Dragic, and then also he called Mark out for naming the podcast a daily fantasy basketball podcast, even though it's never been a daily fantasy basketball podcast. He says he loves us and he listens to every pod while walking his dog and would love to play.
It's going to be a maybe.
Okay.
I have one more to read for you as well that I received via Twitter. His name is Mike New, and he's this is just a tweet, so it only could be 140 characters. He said he lost, and since I'm reading this one, you have to decide if you want him in or not.
No, this is your.
Stop trying to make me the bad guy, Mark. It's not nice. So this guy, Mike New, he lost last year's fantasy to his fiance, which was her first year of fantasy, and he currently is barely in the playoffs this year. He needs a second chance. I responded immediately to this guy. I said, "Did you still go through with the wedding after that loss? Because me, I would not have. Like that would have been grounds for immediate. If any,
he might need his wife to co-own the team with him.
Maybe, but like my pride couldn't handle that. Like
so did he get back to you or no?
Yes, he did. So he said that, and this is a telltale sign though. So he said that their wedding is still, they haven't gotten married yet, but they're still engaged.
They're working through some issues as a result of.
So that's a long engagement. And let me tell you, friends, if you have a super long engagement, anything more than a year, that marriage is doomed. says the 30-something-year-old single man. So that's another guy who's compelling a maybe. I think like the maybes that we have, should I put that in some type of poll or something?
No, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you go through the emails offline and any others that we get that we haven't responded to. I'm going to email these guys that you decided are in. We're going to make sure they can do the draft on Sunday night.
Yeah, so it looks like
it's not too late to get your entry in.
Looks like there's Bryce and Charlie have made the cut.
And Josh. We got 3, and then we got a bunch of maybes.
And Iceland is a maybe. That's a lot of research on my end. Peter, Judd, John Doe, maybes. Trey, a maybe as well. So, and also off the record, if we get enough people sending in emails to us, we might do a second league. So keep those emails coming in if you want to be in the league. If you want a second chance in fantasy or in life, email us and let us know, and you will be considered. Good stuff, guys.
All right, that was kind of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
That was fun. And again, hopefully, was it Bryce, the guy with the George Costanza picture?
Yeah.
Remember, Bryce, your acceptance is contingent on us being able to tweet out that photo for all of our listeners.
I'm probably going to let him in anyway, but it would be fun to tweet it out.
And you're wavering between an angry Mark today and then you get super soft. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy some basketball over the weekend, friends. We'll be back on Sunday night, Monday morning with the live draft auction of this league. Hopefully it'll be interesting to everybody who's not in the league to listen and hear how people would draft a team. Basically, just looking at the rest of the season value, it might give some insights for you on how to value your players.
No, it absolutely should be useful for for your rest of the season teams.
Daniel, thanks a lot for the show today.
Thanks for having me, my friend. You can find me
Thanks for having me, man. You're hosting here.
That is true. You can find Mark at Mark F. Roberts. That's Mark of the K, as in Mark Price.
How dare you?
You can find.
How dare you?
I'm just gonna say that for the.
No.
I think you should change your Twitter name to that now.
I actually think we could get rid of the letter K. We wouldn't. I think we'd be just fine without it. Anyway.
Probably. Yeah. Anyway, so find me though on Twitter, guys, at Daniel A Green 1. That's green like the color. And Mark, where can they find you?
Mark F. Roberts. Mark with a C.
Mark with a C. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good weekend, and we will talk to you soon. See you Sunday for Sunday's show where we do the live draft.
Bye, guys.